Samson Balogun, and this is Daybreak Live Extra on Dominion Television. We begin with a tragic development from Borno State. Reports indicate that Boko Haram has attacked a military base, resulting in the death of an army general, several soldiers, and brigade Islamic cleric. What do we know about the circumstances of this attack? What does it reveal about the current state of security operations in the Northeast? And how might this shape ongoing efforts to contain insurgency? That is our Daybreak gist this morning. We'll also bring you the weather report and shortly after Daybreak news with the major developments shaping the day.
And I'm Manulu Akpo. We then turn our focus to the newspaper headlines and analysis. And this morning's front pages reflect a mix of security concerns, political development, and public reactions. We also take a closer look at the major stories and perspectives they present.
And Amuluwaemi Adelako, our big story looks at the country's electoral preparedness. INEC records massive new voters, but is the system ready? With increasing voter registration numbers, the question shifts to capacity. Can the system manage to scale it, ensure credibility, and maintain public confidence in the process? Joining us for that conversation is Afolabi Afolami, a public affairs analyst.
And before we close this morning, TrendWatch will highlight the stories and conversations gaining traction across the country.
So, it's a morning of serious reflection today.
Definitely. Let's begin.
We shall begin.
Good morning.
Good morning to you all.
Good morning
It's
to you.
nice to be, always be on this table to talk about Nigeria as a country.
Right.
Stories. Developed stories, actually, because some of the stories are developing and some of them are familiar stories on the pages of the newspaper, but they keep reoccurring. And that is why we want to talk about the Boko Haram attack on a military base in Borno State, and why an army general was killed, and definitely some other Islamic soldiers, brigade Islamic cleric lost their lives in all of this. But then, before we go deep into the story, let's go on a quick break. And when we return, Daybreak Live Extra continues on Dominion Television.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets.
All right, so welcome back. The show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television, Daybreak Live Extra. And we are still here talking about the recent attack and the overrun of a military base in Borno State, Maiduguri. Now, that brings us to the question about credibility amongst Nigerian generals. And also, how do you source for information, which is credible intel? And of course, how do you have a military base and then Boko Haram that we are said to be gradually overcoming, then overruns a military base, kill a general, and then leave so many injured? It's a very big one, actually. But then, if the Nigerian army is facing all of this at the battlefront, okay, how do we bridge the gap between insurgency
and security in the country, because it's becoming more and more of a problem. We spoke about this yesterday, that there is now an infiltration of bandits into some states in the north central, and then of course it will trickle down to the southwest and some other parts of the country if care is not taken. Now, military generals are losing their lives. So if a military general loses his life at the battlefront, you can imagine how many, serving soldiers under his watch have actually lost theirs too in this cause.
Honestly, it's really sad. And then when I saw the story, I don't know how to behave when I actually read the story, because this is not the first time that a brigadier general will be murdered in cold blood. You know, it's not even up to 6 months that a particular general was killed too, and then they butchered his body into pieces, and then it was a gory sight. And then they even wore his uniform to make videos, and they posted those videos just to show that, okay, we actually killed this person. In case some of you are not, maybe you don't believe the story, something like that too. And then even recently, a particular general, I think last year in 2025, in February, a particular general was also abducted from his own hometown. I'm talking, I think, General Siga now was abducted from his hometown. And the Nigerians are panicking to say that if a general can be killed in that manner, what is the faith, of people, of the commoners, of Nigerians who cannot even carry arms? And then one more thing is, I read the report, I'm not sure whether that is true, that, at the point when the brigadier general wanted to escape, the armored vehicle did not start. I mean, the army is here to whether say that is true or not, but then that was what we read. And so it speaks to certain issues. While some Nigerians are divided on that matter, some are saying, could it be a case of sabotage? Maybe internal sabotage to see that, okay, maybe the vehicle will not, you understand what I'm trying to say now? Is it that some persons in the army on that camp...
that kind of vehicle should be an emergency vehicle.
Exactly.
You go there, you start once, and it takes you wherever
it takes you where you go. So if that vehicle started, maybe that man would have escaped that death, but then he didn't start. And some are just saying maybe it's a case of sabotage. Some are saying, could it be a case of fear? Some are saying, could it be a case of maybe it just developed maybe an issue? Because, vehicles are just like human beings. It won't tell you it's going to break down. It might give you signs. So these are the things that we need to look at. The army should do a proper investigation. But then one sad thing is that we might not get to know the reason, the exact reason why that vehicle did not start. And then if you can get the reason why the vehicle did not start, maybe we can take it from there. Because, these people were there. That's not their first time to be there. So why is that an attack happened? They didn't get a clue of it, and then people died. The brigadier general died, and then a lot of soldiers also died. It's a problem in this country. And then we've been on this for the last 17 years. I think it's since 2009. And then even these people, they have grown so much. They now have powerful splinter groups like the ISWAP. Who knows? Maybe there's even another group out there that we are not even aware of. So it appears that we do not have what it takes, sadly, and that's what the entire world believes, that we don't have what it takes to actually tackle this. But then some Nigerians still believe that we have what it takes if we can actually, fish out, those who are sabotaging the effort of these people, really.
So I guess this brings to mind, it brings to remembrance the issue of a general that was also killed, I think earlier this year or last year, I can't remember when exactly, that tried to reach out to authorities to say, this is where I am, please come and rescue me. And eventually he was maimed, he was killed by the same people. And so this brings a reflection to say, maybe not for comparison, but just to consider what is obtainable in other parts of the world. So recently, I know everybody, we are abreast of this, that a US airman, who was on board F-15 fighter jets, was shot down by Iranian forces, 2 of them actually, but they escaped because they used the propeller inside the aircraft to escape. So one was rescued immediately, the other was not rescued right then. So there was a search patrol. It's in fact 2 raids according to the US, according to Donald Trump, that later found him somewhere badly wounded, but injured, but he was still able to still stay in some of the areas, I think in a mountainous place, so he just hid himself and they were able to rescue him. Meanwhile, it wasn't just the United States that was looking for their airman. The Iran was looking for the man. In fact, they even put like a bounty that anybody that gets to see this man would get this much. And it became a thing that 2 fighting nations are looking for 1 person. And I began to ask, it's a colonel, by the way. And so in the case of the Nigerian person that was killed, Brimo, is also a general. So I was trying to look at the response of the army the U.S. Army and the response of the Nigerian Army. And it's nothing to write home about. It's nothing to compare, really. But we must also say that if someone had risen through the rank and file of the military to that position of being a commander or being a general, and the person has to lose his life just like that, it's really unacceptable. We just spoke about the case of this guy, Olamilekan, that came out to talk about the use of the army, especially with welfare and all of that. And there were a lot of questions as to this is not what you should do because it can down the morale of the Nigerian army, which is accurate. But the question now is, which is more downing? Which will down the morale of the army in itself, in its entirety, than this? Because this is a situation we call decapitation, and decapitation in this kind of thing is taking the head from all of that. So if you take, for example, one of the sins you don't want to experience in life is to be a young child and then see your father killed in your presence. It is not just a thing of the suffering, the emotional suffering you go through. It's also the trauma of the fact that you saw your father die in your presence. And not just that, it also tells you that whoever kills my father can kill me too. So for the army, if my general was killed that way, then what is my lot? So I'm trying to speak to the morale of the army, because it's all about the morale for the army. So that's why they are so intentional. For example, the dismissal of Olamilekan was sure to come. And this is not a way to say what Olamilekan said is right. But we mentioned that day that if there's a claim, if there's a welfare claim or something, let's tackle that issue, even as we have done with Olamilekan. Let's not just brush it under the carpet and let it sweep there. No, let's take a concrete assessment of the issues that he had presented. It's an opportunity to develop the army, right? We talked about welfare, and it's something we are still talking about. Now, just like you mentioned too, that there's a chance that one of the vehicles that should rescue him was not working. This is not even a thing. Meanwhile, I really do not have all the briefs, right? But yesterday, I could count about 10 big vehicles taking or bringing armored tankers and some vehicles, basically for the military, because the call was there, from Ibadan to Lagos. I witnessed it with my very own eye, and I was very impressed with that, because I saw this is like a supply and ammunition. I count like 10, and inside one big vehicle that's conveying them, we had like 2 armored tanks and maybe one other like jeep, right? So that was what I saw, and I was like, okay, so this is impressive. But beyond all of this, are there other things we are looking at too? Because if we have to lose a general, the morale of the army is at stake right now. And this insurgence is not stopping anytime soon because of what we've seen. So we see, I think one of the things I also want to speak to is the issue where the defense headquarters spokesperson, that's Michael Onoja, came out to say some things, and I wasn't really pleased with it. One, he didn't quite name or mention the number of people that were killed, which is the thing. It could be a security detail that they don't want to put out. One, that's okay. But what about the fact that they said, according to him, in fact, let me quote him the way he said it, that those guys were trying to do a reprisal. They were trying to get back at them because they have lost already. I don't see a way you say these people have lost when they can raid a base and
mobilize that much
if
to
there's
overrun a military base.
Exactly. If there's a place that is more scary in the country, it should be the military base. For an average civilian, you don't want to go near, because you understand this is a sacred kind of place. So for an insurgent to now come together and say we want to get into this place and then kill a general, it's a lot. It shows that these guys have the guts. These guys have the effrontery to do this. They are not scared of anything. And it tells a bigger story and a bigger picture to the armies that are still working for the Nigerian government, for the Nigerian nation, right? It tells them that if your Oga can be killed, then anytime you can expect the same. So I just want to say that while we talk about morale boosting for the army, let's ensure that decapitation does not occur at that level. Because if it does, what you are trying to fight against in terms of demoralization is what is going to happen to your entire army. And so we should not just see this as one of the things. I saw that the president also spoke about this, and everything was like, this man is a courageous man. Beyond leave the courage. I wish I could say it in a better way. Yes, the courage to die. No, let it be the courage to really serve the country with the best of equipment, with the best hands, with the best training. Let it be that this is going to yield that whatever courage I'm putting on the spot, right, it should yield positive. It shouldn't just be, because I'm thinking, so what about this guy, Brimo's children? What about his wife? What about his family members? How do you want them to feel? Someone who probably, I was talking about the rising through the rank and file. It must have, maybe he has been deployed to one of these camps before. The insurgents, all of these people, he had fought it, and then now he's now a general, and he's still somewhere in the base, at the base, right? And then he was killed right there, and this is really unacceptable.
A lot is happening in the military, and then I want to think like an average Nigerian would think about if there's a conspiracy theory within the Nigerian army. And let's take it back a little bit and talk about some of these generals and high-ranking military officials who have lost their lives in the fast fight against Boko Haram and some other insurgencies, of course, in the country. Now, let's talk about Ibrahim Atairu. He was a lieutenant general, and of course, that time, he was the chief of army staff, high-ranking 7 officer in the Nigerian army at that time. But he lost his life. What happened? It was that he died in a military plane crash en route to Kaduna. And the context was that, though not killed directly in combat, his death occurred during active leadership of war against Boko Haram. In fact, he was unpicked by the then president for his courage, that he was really active against Boko Haram. So they needed someone who was going to edge that place and then, maybe decimate the capacity of Boko Haram in the northeast and some other northwestern states. But unfortunately, during that period, he lost his life in a military, helicopter, and he died. And some said at that time that there is a probability or a chance that this man was taken out of the way. But nobody really said anything about that, and it was swept under the carpet. Away from there, Muhammad Abu Ali was a lieutenant colonel, and he died in the year 2016. He was killed in combat during an operation in Borno State. Also, due to lack of credible intel, or maybe someone fed, Boko Haram or ISWAP another information different to what he had. And of course, during that battle, he lost his life. He was leading his men. And so we can say that while leading his men against Boko Haram and ISWAP, he also died. Now, Ibrahim Sakaba was a lieutenant colonel, and he died in 2018. Killed during Boko Haram attack on a military base in Borno State. Another repeat of an overrun of a military base where a lieutenant colonel lost his life. Now, Kingsley Eleme was a colonel, and of course, he died in 2019. He was killed in an ambush near Jakana in Borno State. An ambush. So, who should have more intel, if not the military? So if Boko Haram could set up an ambush, it means that there was an information before and that they were going to go through these routes and they waited for them. So for me, I think, and if we can mention names and names, Danjuma Ali Kefi, as widely reported, also was a major and died in 2014, was killed during an ambush by insurgents. This for me is an headache. Because it's clear now that there is something bigger happening within Nigeria that nobody is talking about. So some people are much more powerful. Probably the benefit of their feeding fat on the wealth of the nation, and that has to do with insurgency in the country. They make so much money that it doesn't have to end. Because once it ends, their source of living, their cash cow is dead. So it really saddens me that if you now say a colonel lost his life in an ambush, a general lost his life in a battlefield where his own military base was overrun by Boko Haram or ISWAP. It tells you that thousands of Nigerian young men have lost their lives. Because if you just mentioned that the military spokesperson barely spoke about those who died, right? They more or less like they just brushed this aside like nothing happened. I was talking to someone. I don't want to be Semitic or try to talk about a particular tribe but I want to make it as an example. I was talking to someone and I said, look, so number of people died and so person from one particular region. I don't want to really speak about it that way. But then, so does that mean that those from that region you are mentioning, are they not human beings? Okay, so why not say, oh, we lost so number of men during an accident, rather than report it as, oh, some people died and some people from so region. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that, let's be clear, let's be factual, let's see what the details are. How much damage has Boko Haram done to the Nigerian military? And how can we revive this, the Nigerian military and make it as functional as it used to be? Nigeria used to have ECOMOG that would leave Nigeria and go on a peacekeeping mission in other countries. It happened in Liberia. Just recently, Liberia is just too far away. Just recently, there was a coup in Benin Republic. Attempted coup. And within a blink of an eye, Nigerian army was there, sent a fighter jet, blah, blah, and then normalcy was restored in Benin Republic. The same attempt was made in Niger Republic, but then due to diplomacy and some other things, they had to withdraw. But then they could have actually done something if they wanted to. So I think the president, shied away from an invasion of Benin Republic and their sovereignty at that time. So he withdrew from the pressure by ECOWAS for him to actually come and do something. But the point I'm trying to make before I let me munch on this is that it's becoming more and more of a reoccurrence. We have seen this happen on it's like we are repeating the same script. And then if you are repeating the same script, you are acting the same movie. So why not put an end to all of this and let us all go back to the drawing board? What exactly is the problem? Is Boko Haram now bigger than the Nigerian army? Nigeria is about 250 million people, yeah? And then we have about 6 different geopolitical zones. And about 3 of these geopolitical zones has been overrun by Boko Haram and ISWAP. So why can't we just contain it? Just like I said yesterday, let's contain it within the confines of those places and then try to solve the problem before it becomes a problem for other regions. The Southwest is now about to bear the brunt of the lackadaisical attitude of the Nigerian government in not being able to attend to security challenge in that part of the Northeast, for example. I mean, there has been a little bit relative quiet in the Northwest a little bit. But if you see the Northeast now, in fact, we call some places in Nigeria ungoverned spaces. So if there's no government presence in those places, am I to go there to govern it? No. The president should just look into how can we make these places feel the impact of the Nigerian government. Okay, we should just end all of this once and for all.
Honestly, it's really sad. And then you've said a lot about the entire thing. And then for people who can actually read between the lines, they can actually pinpoint certain things why it's been difficult for the Nigerian army to actually, nip this in the bud. It's obvious, even to the blind. And then I remember that there was a time we read a particular headline, and then that headline said they are going to release the list of those who are sponsoring these people.
Well, maybe that was released by the Saudi Arabian government
exactly.
At that point. And then there was an intel, a list from the American government. Do something about this. Since then, nobody has said pim about it.
And I don't think we are going to ever see that list, because if we can have that list, maybe it will give us, enough information to actually know who to face about this entire matter. And I remember that Soldier Boy also said something. He said they buy boots, they buy armor, they buy vest, with their own money. And then some Nigerians said, oh, he's a liar. But then another ex-soldier, a lady actually released another video and said what he's saying is actually true. She said she had to pay for her own boots instrumentally. And then it doesn't make sense. It's pure craziness, because how do you explain that soldiers have to, out of the money they are collecting, because according to soldiers, we don't know whether that's true, 105,000 or something?
It was just increased to
109,000.
Usually it was 51,000 naira before then. And then it was increased.
And then another 20K.
And then usually, when they are on battlefield, if you have been seconded to maybe Borno State or somewhere in the Northwest to face insurgency, you get 5,000 naira on a daily basis for your upkeep. But then some people sat on their money and started giving them 45,000 naira monthly. So now imagine 5,000 times 30. That's a lot of money. And someone decided to cut all of that and then give them 45,000 naira monthly.
Is that not 150,000 naira instead?
Honestly, that's why I say if they explain Nigeria to you and you understand, honestly,
you've been here before.
You've been here before, honestly. And then I saw another headline just few hours before the headline about the Brigadier broke, that says Tinubu raises ex-militant funding by 50 billion naira to 115 billion naira. Ex-militants. Nigerians are asking, these people, they've said, and they are out of the system. Why is it that Tinubu is raising their funding? What happens to those who are still serving?
They're paying them to keep quiet.
Who are complaining about ammunition? There was one senator that raised an alarm to say that some soldiers fled a particular scene because they do not have the necessary equipment to fight the Boko Haram. And then we are raising the funding of ex-militants. Some Nigerians are even saying they've concluded in their head that it's political. Maybe the government needs them for one thing or the other. It doesn't make sense. I remember recently the US, they released a statement to say, beware, they were talking to their citizens, and especially their embassy. The Abuja embassy is closed as we speak now because of the insurgency that is going on in the country. And Nigeria federal government responded to that by saying, oh, that's just internal protocol. There's peace all around. And I'm like, what's going on? Even a baby can understand that there's a lot is going on in this country. So we try to cover a lot of things. I remember there was a time that an attack happened. I think the United States attacked Sokoto, for instance, and then I think Shore and the likes came out to say that the federal government was not in the know. And then the federal government said, no, we were informed before they actually came. So who do we believe in that situation? Because, I mean, the United States announced the attack before the federal government in our own country. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I believe we actually have what it takes. A country like Nigeria that helped other countries to solve insecurity. How bad can it be since 2009? How bad can it be that we cannot find a solution to whatever it is that is going on in the country? Internal sabotage, I think, is the major problem of the Nigerian army. To be very
let me also add to that, and what I would say is what we've also highlighted, and that's the lapse in communication, especially with the Nigerian military. The defense headquarters. I remember there was a time they said there was an attempted coup and all of that. They debunked it. Later we discovered it was actually true. There was a plan to do that. But anyway, that's by the way. Other information, we've been waiting on some information to even in recent times, and then all we see then is this is not true. They debunk a lot of things. What they are supposed to really tell, we don't get to hear them. So let me just quote Onoja when he was speaking to this. She said this attack is a clear indication of desperation of terrorist elements who, having suffered significant losses in recent operations, and this is what I don't like anyway, continue to resort to futile and ill-fated offensive against well-defended military positions. That was what he said. And I say that this English does not really tackle what we are seeing. It's different. It's like you're saying these guys are now coming for reprisals. They've been attacked. They've been done. If the statement of the military is so strong enough, they don't burn them where may they enter that base, military base. So if they can enter, it means that what you're saying is really far from what is exactly obtainable in the country. And maybe just to speak to what the president said, and I think I'm going to hold the president on this. He said, it was when he was speaking about the person that was killed, I mean, the general, Brimo, he said that Nigeria will not forget this. And I really want to put it on paper, and I want to note it today that the president said that, please, may this country not forget the effort of those fallen heroes. And it's not just about giving their families money. It's about making sure we don't have recurrency. We don't have a repeat of this. We don't have our military men dying. It wasn't just Onoja that was killed, though. In fact, it was a coordinated attack, one in Borno and another in another place. And it was almost at the same time. It's more like these people can actually communicate on times that they need to do these things. They have intel, like you say. They know what they are doing. They know how to carry it out, and they know how to be successful about this. Many times we've seen where there will be a fight, a feud between them. We see a lot of gun battles, but we don't get to see these guys. They don't parade their dead bodies. I don't like to say that publicly, but it's also true. What we just get to know is that we've lost men. And then what about those people? Did we kill anybody? Did we kill any of them? Or are they so invincible that we cannot even touch them? They can't just stroll into the military base and then stroll out again, killing our people. It's high time we change our approach to this. Let the body language of this administration and the government be so clear to insurgents that we cannot accept what you're doing, and we will not even joke with you. And you know, it will also, if we want to comprehend maybe this situation, we can take it to the complex side of saying there's something called repentant bandits, and that is even for me and a lot of people. It's so these people that are killing many people. You know, I mean, it's really emotional.
Not much is to be expected of you know, an administration that believes, you know, you can be forgiven for the wrongdoings you've done in the past. And that is why I'll still go back to the Buhari-led administration. And I think most Nigerians will not forgive that administration for the mishap they brought on this nation. Because it was through that period that we heard about repentance Boko Haram. You know, they've been, what's the word they use again? So they had been de-radicalized. And then some of them even found their way into the Nigerian military. Do you think someone like that easily leaves what he's been doing that gives him joy, and then you think he has now become part of you? I mean, how do you raise a lion cub in your home and believe, yes, he's going to act like a human being? It doesn't work like that. A lion will always be a lion, a goat will be a goat, and a human being will always be a human being. So when it is time for us to tell the difference and draw the lines, of course you will know, definitely, and that is the result we are saying here. And also, you know, it's just a sad thing that, you know, Onoja is in that position to defend the nonsense that is happening in that area. You know, it's very difficult for you to defend failure. You get to say a lot of things that you even question your own sanity when you get to the corner of your room, or maybe in your bathroom when you are having your bath. You think about what you wrote or what you said, and you are like, no, it shouldn't be like this. But then, this is what we'll continue to see until someone wakes up one day and says, look, enough is enough, and we have to put an end to all of this. And I also want to implore everyone, if you have been saddled with the responsibility of getting some things done, regardless if you think that it's against the ethics of your job, or maybe it's against, what do we call this? Common sense, okay? Just let it go. There are jobs that is not worth taking that will destroy you at the end of the day, because people, they don't believe some of these press releases have been sent to you to publish or maybe to give out. They believe that's your handwriting. And all that is still coming back to your own table. However, as a serving general in the Nigerian military, if you are behind any of this, if for any reason you are there and you know what is going on to your fellow men, the fallen heroes on the field, just know that a day is coming. You are going to leave that field, go back to your home and think you have become a civilian. But unfortunately, you are not a civilian, because some of these people, they have not forgiven you. They have not forgotten what you've done. We could talk about a Nigerian general who was traveling and was ambushed by some men, and his dead body and his vehicle was dumped in the particular lagoon somewhere. I think that should be around Niger State or thereabouts. The search and rescue took about 3, 4, 5 weeks before they could even locate his exact location. So it means that when you are out of office, you become an average human being. And then all the orderlies that follows you, maybe 5, 10, 6, 7, 8 of them, I mean, there will be an end. Maybe only one of them will remain. Then you will see what exactly we are talking about. You should know that there are Nigerians who don't even have access to all of this. We walk about every day, no security, nothing. But we have decided to place our faith in God and the government. So if the government cannot be trusted with the lives and properties of Nigerian people, then there is a problem. But it's on that note we are going to draw the curtains on this particular topic this morning. And then we'll help you plan your day. We'll take weather report. And we'll be starting with the ancient metropolitan city of hospitality, Ibadan. And right now in Ibadan, weather is currently fair but cloudy at 24 degrees Celsius. But later in the morning it will rise by 6 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. It will be mostly cloudy with humidity at 1%. Later in the afternoon, it rises further to 35 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy, humidity at 13%. And in the evening, it drops to 28 degrees Celsius. It will be partly cloudy, humidity drops to 4%. And overnight, there will be a drop to 25 degrees Celsius, cloudy, with humidity dropping by percentage to 3% right there in Ibadan today.
And from Ibadan, we cross to Lagos, and weather this morning feels like 32 degrees Celsius. Later is expected to be around 30 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 1%. In the afternoon, we have 32 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 3%. And in the evening, it drops to 29 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 4%. And overnight, it drops to 28 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 0%. And that's what we have for Lagos this morning.
And from Lagos to Abeokuta South, Ogun State is where I will pick up from. 25 degrees Celsius, expect to be mostly cloudy across board. In the morning, 30 degrees Celsius is what it starts with, and then it increases to 35 degrees Celsius in the afternoon to be partly cloudy. It remains partly cloudy in the evening, dropping back to 28 degrees Celsius, and it drops much further overnight by 2 degrees Celsius to 26 degrees Celsius to become cloudy in Abeokuta South, Ogun State today.
All right, away from there, let's go straight to the south, and that is Owerri, Imo State. Right now, as we speak, weather is currently at 23 degrees Celsius in Owerri. But later in the morning, it will rise to 30 degrees Celsius, cloudy with humidity at 4%. And it will rise further to 34 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy in the afternoon, humidity at 10%. But in the evening, it drops to 27 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, humidity at 3%. And overnight, it drops further to 25 degrees Celsius, cloudy, with humidity right there also remaining at 3% in Owerri today.
And from Owerri, across to Anambra East, and weather this morning feels like 24 degrees Celsius, and later is expected to be around 30 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 2%. In the afternoon, we have 35 degrees Celsius, mostly sunny, around 1%. And in the evening, it drops to 29 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy, around 3%. And overnight, it drops further to 26 degrees Celsius, cloudy, around 2%. And that's what we have for Anambra this morning.
And we take a sneak peek from Anambra now to the north. Kaduna South, Kaduna State is where we'll pick up from. 24 degrees Celsius, cloudy across board today. Yes, in the morning, 32 degrees Celsius, expect to be mostly cloudy. And afternoon, it increases by 6 degrees Celsius to 38 degrees Celsius, expected to be mostly cloudy still. It will remain mostly cloudy in the evening, although it drops significantly from 38 to 30 degrees Celsius. And overnight, it drops much further by 6 degrees Celsius to 24 degrees Celsius to become clear in Kaduna South today.
All right, I will take this from Sokoto. Sokoto South and Sokoto State this morning. Weather is currently at 27 degrees Celsius. It is mostly cloudy, and it will be at average of 27 degrees Celsius all through the day in Sokoto. But later in the morning, it will rise to 35 degrees Celsius. It will be sunny with zero chance of humidity, and by afternoon it rises further to 41 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy, also zero chance of humidity right there. And by evening it drops to 33 degrees Celsius. It will be clear, and overnight it will also drop further to 28 degrees Celsius. The weather will be clear, and of course zero chance of humidity in the evening and overnight in Sokoto today.
From Sokoto, we cross to Kano Municipal. Weather feels like 24 degrees Celsius this morning, and later is expected to be around 33 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 0%. In the afternoon, we have 39 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 0% as well. In the evening, it drops to 31 degrees Celsius, clear around 0%. And overnight, it drops to 24 degrees Celsius, clear around 0% as well. And that's what we have for Kano this morning.
And with that, that's all we'll take on the weather report today, as we've helped you plan your day. Of course, you can follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast as well. You can also, if you like to watch us live, on www.dominion.org.ng, and that's where to catch up with us on our live programs and broadcasts from here in our studio in Ibadan.
All right, it is time to go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll take the news on the Dominion Television this morning. We'll be back after this time out.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Welcome to Daybreak News on Dominion Television, Ibadan. I'm Anu Luakpo Ido. Suspected ISWAP terrorists have reportedly killed Brigadier General O. Brima, a commander of the 29th Task Force Brigade in Benishek, during the midnight attack on the military base in Borno State. Local sources said the insurgents stormed the formation in large numbers, sparking a fierce gun battle in which several soldiers, civilian JTF members, and scores of attackers were also said to have been killed. The defense headquarters has confirmed the attack on the Benishek base, but is yet to officially confirm the reported death of the senior army officer. The latest assault highlights the renewed concerns in Borno, despite ongoing military operations against Boko Haram and ISWAP in the northeast. The Minister of Defense, retired General Christopher Musa, has called for stronger collaboration among Nigeria's security and intelligence agencies to tackle the nation's security challenges. Speaking at a meeting with intelligence chiefs in Abuja, Musa said actionable intelligence remains vital in combating asymmetric threats from within and outside the country. He noted that while agencies have been working effectively, operating in silos has reduced the overall impact of security efforts. The minister stressed the need for integrated intelligence and coordinated operations in line with President Tinubu's directive for enhanced jointness across all services. The presidency has clarified the 3.3 trillion naira debt repayment plan approved by President Bola Tinubu to settle verified legacy debts owed to power generation companies. According to the presidency, the payment is part of a structured reform program aimed at stabilizing the power sector and improving electricity supply, with 223 billion naira already disbursed. It explained that the final figure emerged after a comprehensive verification process reduced earlier claims of about 4.7 trillion naira by 30%, leaving only valid the contract-backed obligations. The government says the phased market-based settlement framework is designed to restore confidence in the sector while protecting public interest. The Oyo State House of Assembly has moved to upgrade the Oyo State College of Agriculture and Technology in Igbora to a full-fledged university. Speaker Adebo Ogundoyin, who led deliberations on the motion, said the move would correct the absence of a university in the Barakpat zone and expand access to higher education. Lawmakers noted that Oishka already has the staff strength, land faculties, and academic infrastructure needed for conversion, with degree programs already running in affiliation with FUNAB. The House has now directed its Committee on Education to begin amending the institution's enabling law and urged the executive arm to provide the needed backing for a smooth transition. Residents along the Ibadan Circular Road corridor have urged the government to uphold fairness, transparency and accountability in the execution of the project, insisting on strict compliance with its gazetted 75-meter setback on both sides of the corridor. Taiwo Olarewaju completes the report.
Residents along the Ibadan Circular Road corridor have called on the government to ensure fairness, transparency and accountability in the implementation of the road projects, urging authorities to adhere strictly to the gazetted 75-meter setback on both sides of the corridor. The demand was made known during a press conference convened by affected communities across 6 local government areas: Oluyole, Egbeda, Ido, Akinle, Lagelu and Onara, who said they have been subjected to inconsistent and selective actions. Speaking at the conference, the Secretary of the Residents Association, Abayomi Olayode, outlined the key demands of the affected communities.
These are the 3 things we want from the government. That the government follows the original acquisition framework of 75 meters on both sides as lawfully established and gazetted during the administration of our dear Kabiyesi, His Excellency Senator Rashidi Adewale in 2006. Number 2, the adequate compensation be paid to all affected property owners within the right of way prior to any demolition, including those whose properties were previously demolished but remain uncompensated. Our third point, we want the existing community beyond the gazetted 75 meters on both sides be preserved and excluded from any further or expanded acquisition.
Some residents who attended the conference shared their experiences.
I have read copy documents. So the fact that governments always judge under that all these people doesn't have documents is a lie. Nobody has ever been compensated. Like we said earlier on, this project spans 3 phases. There is phase 1, ranging from TEQ down to Badeku. TEQ down to Badeku covers 2 local governments, which is Oluyole and Onara. Then from Badeku down to Lagelu, so it spans Egbeda, Axis, and Lagelu. Then from Lagelu down to Akinyele, then Ido, that covers the 3rd phase.
Time I hear that they want to demolish my house, I just discovered that this hand, I cannot raise it up. The hand paralyzed. So I am in pain. So long time. I can't move. The pain is too much for me.
Since then that my house has been marked, not only me, both the whole community, since then we couldn't get ourselves. I'm not like this before, but because of what is happening, since Governor Shemakinde has marked the house, a lot of things has happened to me. So, economically, I'm down.
Human rights activist Kayode Babayomi also lent his voice to the cause.
It tells us that people are not tired and people are ready to fight this cause, to the last, with their last breath. And as you can see, that we are not only solidarizing with them, we've been with them for a long time, right from the having issue of this struggle, and you can see that the demand still remains the same, 75 by left, 75 by right. And they are very conscious enough to know that after this administration, another administration will come up, and to avoid story that thought that was there any agreement initially for 75 left or right. That is why this is coming up.
The residents further appealed to the incoming administration in Oyo State to prioritize early engagement with stakeholders and adopt a people-centered approach in addressing issues surrounding the project. Taiwo Olandrewaju, reporting for Dominion News.
The Osun State House of Assembly has raised concerns over the redeployment of the Resident Electoral Commissioner, Mutiu Agboke, ahead of the 2026 governorship election. Agboke announced his transfer to Ondo State in a message to journalists thanking stakeholders in Osun for their support during his tenure. Reacting, Speaker Adewale Egbedu said the timing of the redeployment as preparations for the governorship poll intensify raises serious questions about the electoral process. The Assembly also alleged plans for further transfers of key INEC officials and called for a free, fair and credible election, urging observers to closely monitor development in the state. In business, the Nigerian Independent System Operator, NISO, has said transmission inefficiencies are costing the power sector between 5 and 8 billion naira every month. Speaking at the agency's first anniversary in Abuja, Managing Director Abdul Bello said transmission losses, which were close to 10% at inception, have now been reduced to just over 7% through targeted interventions. He noted that the operator is working to cut the losses further to between 5 and 6% in line with regulatory targets and improve overall grid stability. Bello added that NISO is also accelerating the redeployment of real-time grid monitoring systems, including SCADA and telemetry infrastructure, to strengthen visibility and control across the national grid. And finally, in sports, Super Falcons captain Rashida Tajibade has voiced frustration over the team's preparations for the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Ajibade's reactions follow the withdrawal of Cape Verde from the next week's scheduled double-header friendlies, leaving the Nigeria Football Federation searching for a replacement opponent. The skipper questioned the level of seriousness in the team's build-up, noting that the tournament also serves as qualification for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup. The Super Falcons, who are defending champions, are chasing the record extended 11th WAFCON title in Morocco this July. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast and X at Dominion Cast. And that ends Daybreak News on Dominion Television. I am Anwoluakpo Idowu. Thank you for watching.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Welcome back. This is Newspaper Headlines and Analysis. I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun. And this morning we have quite a number of headlines to talk about, but let's start with New Telegraph. And the Borno headline says Borno scores of terrorists killed as troops foil attacks on military formation, and that's coming from DHQ. And then this headline, as these few writers, says few brave gallant soldiers paid the supreme prize. Mom on brigade commander's faith. And don't be discouraged, weary, Tinubu tells military. Again, court jails another Boko Haram victim 9 years after 10 years in detention. And then I'm just asking, why is it that this person had to stay in detention for 10 years before the sentence? And then speaking about the attack in Borno State is really a sad one, because one of the soldiers who survived the attack actually recorded a video and then posted online, and then you need to see the state of that particular area that was attacked. It's a sad one that something like that had to happen in Borno State. And from that we cross to another headline that says fuel may eat 2,000 naira per litre. TUC says orders for the government to subsidize crude fast track CNG infrastructure. It's not something we want to happen at all in this country, because even currently people are buying fuel for, I think, 1,300, 1,350. It depends on the area right now, and it's a lot because people are complaining prices have gone up because of that. So imagine when people start buying fuel for 2,000 naira per litre. We don't want to see it happen, and then I want to believe that the federal government will find a way to resolve this, and then maybe they can work hand in hand with the Dangote refinery. At the end of the day, it's a private refinery. You can expect them to run it the same way a government-owned refinery, we actually work for the people. And away from that, we also have a headline that says insecurity, U.S. cancels all visa appointment, orders staff to leave Abuja. Nigeria stable, safe. That's coming from the federal government. And the federal government is trying to debunk this because according to the United States, I think I read the tweet yesterday, that's the United States, the embassy in Abuja, they asked all their officials to actually leave because of the insecurity. And the federal government is saying we are safe, nothing is going on. And then we are seeing attacks here and there. We just saw what happened in Plateau State when the president went there and said nothing like that will happen again. And now the Borno State attack, and then you are trying to prove those people wrong when we have, a lot, of things to talk about, lots of evidences, on the internet that people can see, people can watch, people can read. I don't know how. It's a tough job for the federal government, honestly. And whoever is defending the federal government, on this one, I think they are doing a tough job. And then, apparently things are going on, and then you're trying to placate the people. You're trying to calm the situation by saying that the country is safe. The United States will not, I think that's one country that will always, look in between the lines to see what is going on exactly. They're not going to rely on the words of federal government. And away from that, I have this headline that says Tinubu launches platform for government, entrepreneurs, direct engagement. That's a good development. And then let's cross to Nigerian Tribune this morning, and I have this headline that says a dark day in Borno. Brigadier General orders killed military base attack. Troops neutralize cause of insurgent. Tinubu mourns with families, describes fallen soldiers as unforgettable heroes. Federal government pushes back as U.S. orders embassy employees, families to leave Abuja. And then Southern Middle Belt leaders, federal government too soft on terrorists. That's something to talk about. Is that a claim that you believe in? To say federal government is actually too soft on the terrorists. I think there's a video I watched a few weeks back, and then a top person in the army said, these terrorists are our brothers, and so it doesn't matter what they have done, they should be given another chance. And then the social media, was burning at that time because people were asking questions. Why would you say such a thing? But I don't think the federal government responded to that claim of that top official in the army. So these are the issues, right? Another headline is saying, call for abolition of Operation Open Corridor. Well, that's something to still discuss. And away from that, let's talk about what's going on in the ADC. Leadership crisis. David Mark led ADC press call to reverse INEC's decision. I honestly, I don't really even know how to explain this. If anyone had told me a few months back that we'll have factions in the ADC as well, maybe I would have said no, it's not possible. Because look at the opposition parties. Labour Party, they are factions. The Nenandi faction, the Abure faction. And that's why the party is going through a lot as we speak. PDP is even a sorry case. We have, are we even sure we have just two factions in the PDP? But then we know of the Makinde faction, and then we know of the Wiki faction. And then talking about the ADC, the coalition party. And now we have factions too. We have another faction, the Nephew Bala faction, and then we have the David Mark faction. And of course, this is saying that David Mark led ADC press call to reverse INEC's decision. Because according to INEC was able to trace the party back to July 2025 to say that the party should go back to status quo. And then the INEC was able to interpret that to say that nothing should be done for now, speaking about convention or any congress, because the chairman, Joash Amopiton, went on national TV some days back and said that ADC should not go ahead with the convention because of the court case. But then the David Mark faction is saying, regardless of the court case that is going on, can we continue? Can we have our convention? Because a lot is dependent on this convention. So it's a toss between INEC and the David-led faction. And of course, we also have the Nephew faction as well. So what is going to be the end of this whole crisis going on within the ADC now? Because I don't think this will result into anything tangible. And that's why some persons feel like INEC is trying to make sure that we don't have more than one person on the ballot for the presidential election. And then the federal government is denying this by all means. To say, well, why would you say such a thing? Don't forget, this is the same reason why Wike, after watching the interview that that's a popular, presenter had with a popular politician, and then he said, listening to Sheun say we are trying to resort into one-party state, he wanted to, break the screen and shoot him. And then later I watched another interview, maybe a media parley. Of course, Wike said, if you know the kind of relationship I have with you, you will not say, I meant what I said. I was just talking. Maybe in the moment he forgot himself for a minute and then said that to the public. But then, whatever it is that is going on within the ADC, we need to resolve that. I mean, it should be resolved before the deadline, because INEC has given a deadline. We have a new electoral act. A lot of things have changed because of that. So why are we having factions in that party? And then they are still going to protest. They are still on the protest now. So this is another question. Is there another chance? Or do you think this David Mark-led faction, do you think they can leave the ADC? If they leave the ADC, where are they going to? And that's another question that you need to answer as well. And from that headline, let's cross to another headline. Still taking headlines from Nigerian Tribune this morning. I have this one that says Nigeria calls on UN to promote fair hydrogen economy. And then away from that, I also have this one that says petrol price may hit 2,000 naira per litre. TUC wants for the government to subsidize crude fast-track CNG infrastructure. 2,000 naira per litre. Let's not even think about it. Just like I mentioned before, it's not something we can actually afford as we speak now. But then some persons will say, I think somebody tweeted about 3 weeks ago and said, Adjusters Republic, and that person was referring to Nigeria as a country, that we know how to complain so much, but then at some point we'll just forget about it and we'll move on with our lives. It's a sad one, really. And let's cross to the Punch newspaper. I also have this one that says a fresh blow for ADC as State Congress's stall. Court halts Adamawa Congress, Anambra, Ondo, Zamfara put on hold. I also watched an interview with a particular member of the ADC who belongs to the North Bala faction, and then he said something. He said, if the David Mark faction decides to go on with this convention, then it will be another Amala convention that happened in Ibadan, I think last year, November 2025. And then what do we mean by the Amala convention? I didn't say that. Wiki and of course the likes of Fireship resorted to, they refer to the convention as Amala convention. So they are saying if they decide to hold this convention, it will not hold. And I don't think INEC will be present because of the stand of INEC on this matter. So do you think INEC is interfering too much in the affairs of the ADC? Even on this particular case, do you think they should allow the court ruling to stand? These are the issues. And then good luck to ADC as a political party. And from Nigerian Tribune this morning, let's also cross to the Punch newspaper. And I have a headline that says, Nigeria poverty hits 63% despite easing inflation. That's coming from World Bank. 63%. That's a lot. And then I don't think that's going to reduce any time because of the state of the economy, the price of fuel and things like that. And the final headline this morning is saying federal government insists Nigeria safe as U.S. pulls embassy officials. Where are we going to believe in this case? Federal government is saying Nigeria is safe. U.S. embassy say no, Nigeria is not safe. Pack your bags and leave for now. I even read a particular headline that says that they decided to stop all activities around traveling. So if you want to travel to the United States now, I can feel your pains actually, because a lot is going on because of the insecurity going on in the country. It's a fine place to leave this particular segment this morning. Thank you for being a part of this session. We need to take a short break, and when we come back, we move on to Big Story with Samson and of course with Afalami. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakun. Good morning.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok @Dominion Broadcast and on X @DominionCast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
And welcome to the big story on Daybreak Live Extra. As Nigeria moves steadily towards another electoral cycle, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it has recorded a surge in new voter registration across the country. On the surface, that looks like a win for democracy. More citizens getting ready to decide their own fate. But beyond the numbers lies a more pressing question. Is the system truly prepared to handle this growing voter population? From logistics to technology, credibility to transparency, concerns are already being raised. So today, we ask this question. INEC records massive new voters, but is the system truly ready? I am Samson Balogun, and thank you for joining us. Recent updates from INEC suggest that Nigeria's voter register is expanding significantly, with millions of new voters added during the last continuous voter registration, CVR. This pushes
the country's total registered voters base closer to and to possibly beyond the 90 million mark, up from the 84 million recorded before 2023 general elections. So, on paper, this is a strong indicator of increasing political awareness and civic participation, especially among young Nigerians. However, the growth also raises serious questions about preparedness. So, can the existing infrastructure, both human and technological, handle this increasing number without compromising efficiency? Even more concerning is the issue of voter register verification, a critical step meant to clean up the database before removing duplicates, underage registration, and other irregularities. That process, which many stakeholders expected to be robust and transparent, has reportedly been shelved or delayed, raising eyebrows among political observers and civil society groups. So, this comes against the backdrop of past electoral complaints, ranging from beavers glitches to delayed result uploads, issues that already tested public confidence in the system. So, with more voters now in the system, the stakes are even higher. So, will INEC rise to the occasion, or are we heading into another cycle of avoidable challenges? These are the questions we are going to ask on this show this morning. And I am joined by a seasoned public affairs analyst, Afolabi, with whom we will be making sense of the current situation, increased number of voters. Do we have the capacity to get it done in 2027? Afolabi, thank you for joining us.
Wonderful morning to you, my brother. And good morning, Nigerians. Happy weekend.
All right, it's a beginning of the weekend for some of us, but then for some, this is their own Monday. So it's safe to say that the weekend is not here for some people.
Yes, it's here for me anyway to rest.
Okay. Now let's talk about Nigeria. Yeah. Let's talk about INEC. Let's talk about the preparedness ahead of 2027 general elections. We have new number of voters, which may have well been pushed beyond the 90 million mark out of 250 million people. Still poor, but then it's an upgrade on what we used to have.
Yes.
But people have argued that yes, we have registered more voters, but the database we currently have is riddled with a lot of irregularities. We have people who have actually passed on. They are dead, but they are still on the voter register. We have people who are too young to be on the voter register, and they are there. Those are the underage voters.
Yes.
And some complaints were made in the north during 2023, 2015, 2023, and other elections that we have conducted in the past. We've got some people who really have no business being on voter register. And also, some are said not to be Nigerians, but they are on the Nigerian database as voters. So, do you think even now that we have more voters, do we have the capacity to pull off one of the biggest and the fairest elections in history in Nigeria?
Thank you very much for that wonderful critical question that you've asked there. These are questions Nigerians are asking INEC to put up a clarification on and give us a good answer. Yes, like you rightly said, we've had people who have passed on between 2015 to 2025 and 2026, whose names are still on the database of INEC, has not been removed. We also have the underage. We also have those who are already critically ill and cannot even appear for election. We also have those in the prison and many others like that. And then you see the number growing and growing every day, and they tell us this number has grown beyond the expectation. But I tell you that is not absolutely true. I expect that by now, the INEC, using the current technological advancement that we have now globally, use it to reshuffle the numbers and technically see those who should not be on the database. And by this, I will say very frankly that I don't see our INEC very ready for the coming election. And that we will see from the recent developments by shutting down the server and asking Nigerians to, giving Nigerians the inability to continue the registration on the base, on the server base. I will tell you that I've personally been on that server base for a reason to change my voting polling unit to another polling unit. I've been able to see the way and manner it has been done. I also observed that in that last election, there are some polling units that needed to be expanded. You know, there are need for some polling unit to be created such that they will not have too much of people in a particular area. And then there are also some wards that needed to be added to some local governments. You know, some local governments are still dealing with 10 wards. And they should be on 12 wards because of the numbers of the people that are presently voting.
They keep expanding.
They keep expanding. Like in those local governments. They keep expanding. There are places that the voting polling units can never get to.
Is it that it's a norm in Nigeria that we fail to talk about future expansion in anything?
That has to do with administrative experience, you know, administrative factor. If our administrators understand that the need for the one thing that is constant.
10 words 30 years ago, 10 words
till now,
after that.
2026 is wrong. They keep expanding. You imagine Ido local government from Ido itself, Ido, Eruwa, Eleyele Road, down to Elebu End Extension, down to Bakatari, down to, and you ask yourself where, and you
they share boundary with Ibarapa.
They share boundary with Ibarapa. They also share boundary with Abeokuta. And Owode Killer End. These are where the Ido local government gets to, and you still maintain the norms, the normal 12 wards, which will have been expanded before now. Even their polling, some areas does not have polling units. It's about 10 streets does not know they don't have a polling unit. They need to travel out of their streets to another street, and that tells you why we need to have upgraded our system before now. And I think this is part of what INEC should be looking forward to, not to wait till the electoral day and now be telling us some people can move here. So in the last election I observed in Ibadan Southwest local government Ward 12, where I voted last, I observed that the particular unit has been broken down and created a sub-unit, a sub-polling unit for that unit, but was taken to another place where people did not recognize it. They don't have the awareness before then. It was on the election day that we got to know that some people can as well move towards a particular end to go and vote. And they had no prior idea. No prior idea.
So this increase, how significant is the increase when compared to Nigeria's existing voter register? And should Nigerians be excited or worried about this surge in voter registration?
This surge does not make meaning to me. To me, the surge is just like a paperwork. Somebody coming to tell us that, oh, we've gotten an increase in voter registration. But when we put it down to a technical summary of it, okay, from where, from which end, which state is having the highest number of voter registration? Which ward are we having the highest number of voter registration? Is it where we have people running away from the local government? From Ilorin, a particular local government has decreased right now because of bandit attack.
The whole community has been sacked, deserted.
Are you telling me these people too have also gone on the portal to register more? A particular area in Borno is still boiling. Some areas in Kano are not finding it easy. Samfara is on rest. Are you telling me these areas too have increased in voters registration? Will you tell me by next year that we will be voting? You'll be telling me this place is recording 1.2 million voters. How have we been able to deal with the underage that we witnessed in 2015, 2023? What happened? So these are if you want to tell me that let us have the analysis. Don't just give us a surprise breaking news. A surge in the INEC registration portal has shown that we have.
So is it safe to say that we are expanding the voter register faster than we are expanding the infrastructure?
That is just the truth.
And technologically and realistically, is INEC prepared for all of this?
To tell you the truth, INEC is not prepared. Yes, some money has been devoted for this particular exercise, and I'm waiting to see how INEC will judiciously utilize them.
Some say elections in Nigeria are too expensive. Are you of the same school of thought?
Yes, it's too expensive. With the modern technology that we have globally, we don't need all this that you are talking about. If we can utilize the technology that we have, and our network service provider can be everywhere, well, we don't need all this. Okay, right now, like you are telling me that the voters registration have increased. I should be able to go on the portal and be able to click on the particular link that will tell me the state that is increasing and tell me the place that is decreasing and tell me the wards that is increasing and tell me the polling unit that have increased too. And that way I can tell you that, okay, yes, with what I have seen, with number of people that have registered in this area, Ekiti is likely to give us a triple number of what they've given in the past. Because in the last election, the voters registration that we had in Ekiti, though, is not much. Like where you will compare to Ibadan or Lagos State, and that is where we can now, okay, which of the local government has given us has registered more? Where are we getting more awareness? Where are we not getting awareness? So that some volunteer organization can also come up to say, we want to take this up. If this election is part of our future, that will determine our best education, that will determine our health facility system, that will determine our security system, that will tell us who give us the best leader, where do we get the best leader in Nigeria, that will tell us how our future will be, that will also make us to be known globally, that will give us a good brand. Because everywhere you go now, right now in Nigeria, you are if you are not tagged a terrorist, you are tagged another name that will not be comfortable with you. Somebody wants to look at you and say, where are you from? Immediately you mention the name Nigeria, they look at you with another eyes, as if something is, if it's not in your pocket, it's in your belly or it's in your head. And that tells us the difficulties we face outside the country. Right now, US is not a go area for anybody coming from Nigeria. And why should that be? Because of the terrorism and the bad leadership that we have. Not that we cannot kill this the terrorist attack or bandit attack that we are having, but because we don't have a good leader. If our election has been conducted in a more robust manner, then we know where we get the leader from. We know who we are voting for. We know that our voters, our vote is actually counting. We know that when we vote at a particular polling unit, it is actually being transmitted into the CVR directly. And whatever we voted here is what we are seeing on the screen or even on the portal. It's not that when we vote here, we see something else there.
If you say votes do not count in Nigeria, then why do they buy it?
Because they understand that, like Baba said, you can only rig where you are popular. That I give that.
It means if politicians come out to buy votes, it means it does count.
It does count, but the truth of the matter is that the awareness is not there. You can understand what is going on in Nigeria. Like some party now has already given the price tag for their party form. And you can see that
AAC says it's 2 million.
Wow.
AAC. West Party. Expect that 2 million.
Yes, if it's 2 million, it's not bad. But a party is giving its own out for 20 million just for an House of Assembly member, and a 200 million for a presidential, a 150 million for a governor, and 100 million for a House of Assembly and for National Assembly. And that tells you if that person will, if with 1 million, it can easily be counted, in terms of 1, 2, 3, and you can go straight and get to 1 million within a short minute. That tells you that the Naira is already devaluated. This morning, we are also getting the news that our petrol pump price may get to 2,000 Naira. And we are here. It is because of the leadership. And that is why the INEC is very important to everybody in the country, if we understand what we are doing. So that is the area I want to tell you that I don't see INEC prepare in this area. The awareness is not there. The awareness is not there. They can give us this number, but to me, it is not realistic. This number is just a number.
So we talk about this before we move on. You just mentioned that a political party, most likely the APC, pegged the form for presidential candidates at aspirants at 200 million naira. And an average president in Nigeria, as we speak, get the monthly salary of just over $1 million. That's 1.1 million naira. 1,171,568 naira per month. But basic salary is 292,000 naira. And 200 million naira. You cannot make that back in 4 years. So why the pressure? So a lot of things to still be discussed. But away from there, let's talk about pressure points for INEC. So where are the pressure points likely going to be for them going into the next elections and their preparedness? Talking about polling units, you just mentioned polling units. Are we to talk about IREV, beavers, devices, or manpower itself? Yes. And even logistics.
The pressure point are the states that are not safe. What are they doing about states
locations too.
that are not safe? The locations. Are we sure that the manpower that we used a year was INEC recruited the Nigerian Youth Service Corps members to act as return electoral officers and support manpower for an election? And some of them came back with, in a body bag. And it was so devastated that nothing was done as a country. And that situation is still on ground. Are we saying that the people that will be recruited this time around will be safe? Look at what we are experiencing right now. The likes of Borno. Borno still remains a local state in Nigeria, with the likes of Zamfara. The likes of Ilorin, a particular local government is already deserted. How do we conduct election in this area? What are the mechanisms on ground? Where are the security men that will go with us? Are they really security men? Can we beat our chest and say these ones will give us the best if they go with these people to this polling unit? What is the position of the server? What is the network position of those systems, or the mechanism, the machine they are bringing in? Can we be sure that when you get to the polling unit and you want to check your thumbprinting as to ascertain that you are the person that want to vote, the machine will not reject you? Remember the last election, we have such problem, and they were telling us that they need to bring a paper that we can assign and this and that. And at the end of the day, when the election was counted, where we expect 300 to be uploaded, we got 258. Some areas we got above the numbers that were voted at the polling point. So these are many others that we are expecting that it should be have been put in place before then, because these are the areas that INEC will be finding it difficult to show and get us that they are really ready for this election.
Now that brings us to the integrity of INEC as a body.
Sure.
And going into the next election. Without proper verification, how vulnerable is the system, like on the issues of duplicate registration or underage voting? That is one. Two, do you think INEC is being totally transparent with the current voter register they have at hand? Or is there a specific reason why they spoke about a cleaning of the voter register?
Well, the first election INEC will be conducting under the new administration is that of Osun State. And we are all waiting. Remember, Osun State is one of the technical areas, also having some very...
it's a very hot zone right now.
Yeah, it's an hot
Assistant
zone.
governor who left his party to another political party with strong backing from some people, while the APC is also fielding a candidate.
Yes.
The PDP seems to be the weakest of the top three in Osun State.
So, but I tell you that there are still some areas in Osun State where INEC is yet to get to. And they also are eager to vote. You know, they also want to vote. And this election will be testing the credibility of INEC. If INEC is not partisan, if INEC has not been polluted, if INEC has not been infiltrated to give us a wrong result as what we never expected. So we are looking at INEC. This is the first examination for INEC, after which we will move to Ekiti. But let me tell you, in the area of underage voters, we don't used to have that in the southwest here, because we are the people that we call open your eyes. You know, we open our eyes and we are so conscious of the fact that this is very important to us. And we don't want to have the past experience of Operation Wet here that our forefathers experienced as the result of misunderstandings and political battles. We also understand that we set the pace here in the south, and we also believe that whatever we are able to bring out is what we have already agreed upon. So we know where INEC should go to and clean up the data about the underage of voters that has been recorded, because I don't understand. Then again, it's about this voting, this registration of that affect the religion. You know, some people their religion allow them to cover their faces, and they need to register. I don't know how INEC will somewhat be able to give us the accurate result in the area of registering such kind of people when to get to that zone. Because if a man decides to cover his face and pretend to be a woman, how do you detect that? How do you detect that?
What if you speak?
What you speak? So do you mean
when
that
they ask you questions and you have to talk?
And you have to, and even if you talk and you can squeeze your voice, and you can change your voice. So these are the challenges INEC will be facing over that kind of areas, And I felt that if they really mean business, we can all get it right.
Okay, now this takes us to one very big question. Since you have spoken about some issues Nigeria has faced in the north when it comes to voter registration, some say the effort to conduct another population census since 2006, it's usually meant to be every 10 years. So one was meant to be had in 2016, but it was not. It couldn't go ahead. They couldn't go ahead with it because they had to postpone.
Even though they did, even though they budget money for it.
Right. 2026 again, Nigerians expected. It was postponed to 2017, 2018, and then nothing was being said about it. And now this is 2026, and we still do not have any green light about population census. Are some people scared that by this time in the age of technology, if population census is conducted with technology, then the figures will be clear?
Yes. That is just exactly what we are talking about. The NIN is one technology we can make use of. Everybody have the national identification number.
Not everyone.
Not everyone. But for those who could have it, and we also have a substantial amount of people with phone numbers. You know, there is no amount of phone numbers you have one NIN attached to it.
Right.
And that tells you that you already been captured. Now let us now go down to those people who does not have at all. And this is a very little amount of numbers that does not have at all. And the children, let's say the children from age 13, 14 downward. And we can now look at how far we can go about this. You see, that is why we said voting can be done in a way that will not cost us much. Since the people that will vote are between age 18 and above. 18 and above, most everybody, about 85% of them are making use of phone call. They are with their NIN already. They may have not all of them, if not all of them, will have opened an account one way or the other, even if it is just the fintech. And that is where we can get it right and reduce our cost of voting. And that is what we are expecting. Even the registration of a team, the voting at each polling unit can still be done as people vote. It gets to the server, it gets to the system. We don't need to be panicking. Some people will come with the intention of destroying the polling unit so that they can cut away the polling box, and then destroy the fate of the polling process. And so the number they are expecting for that area, because see, our politicians are so cunning in this country that they know the weak points. They know how our people are afraid. They know how to create fear. They also understand that a particular polling point can give out a such numbers that will deal with all others. Remember the last 2015 election? Was it 2015? Yes, it was 2015 election, when we have to wait for a particular zone in Oyo State for the result to come in. Until the result comes in, then it changed every other result.
Narrative.
It changed the entire narratives.
That was Ogbomosho.
And that was Ogbomosho. And you now tell me that Ogbomosho has not increased more than that by now. You know, that is just it. Even the people in Okeogun have increased. Right now, they are also having invested in Okeogun. They started lectures. Students are moving back down to that place. The business activities in that place will have increased a little bit. It's booming. And that tells you that a population of that end will be increasing. That technically, without getting a mathematician to come and tell you what is going to happen. So these are the areas we want NEC to tap into and make use of the facilities and boost our result in the electoral process.
Okay.
Simple.
Talking about technology, with the kind of backlash and complaints, the problems faced with the use of beavers in the last election, and do you think Nigerians can trust beavers going into the 2027 general elections to conduct an election? That is one. Two, do you think there's a problem with the technology itself, or how it is being deployed and managed?
I don't see any problem with the technology. I only see problem with people that are managing it. Beavers have no problem. We can still trust beavers if we are ready to make use of it. We will not trust the paperwork, because the paperwork can easily be changed. I have witnessed and monitored election in the past. I've seen where it has been written in a particular paper, signed, and then changed in another paper, signed. And that is just it. But if it has to be beavers, immediately it's uploaded, everybody see it on their phone. You just go to the, I have registered on the INEC portal the last election, and as it was being uploaded, I have my opportunity to always check. At a point, I see that some will be uploaded and immediately deleted. So what happened? Who did that? Will you say, because if you want to capture it, somebody is with the technology. The technology will not just do it itself.
It was uploaded.
It was uploaded.
And then deleted. Then what will happen after that?
Another thing was uploaded different from what was...
So different results will be uploaded later.
Another result was uploaded different from what was deleted.
Now, you can now trace it back to the result sheet you signed.
Yes. The results...
Were the signatures also forged?
Oh. You see, there are some political parties in those days that they just formed in order to support a ruling political party or a kind of political party that everybody will have to agree in order to win.
So you agree that some political parties are also complicit in all of this?
They are, and that is where I am, for a reason, looking into the new INEC act, you know, the Electoral Act, the new Electoral Act, to see if this can go, can have can see the green light, can have that can go through, can pass through. Maybe some of these parties will die naturally because they don't need to exist. Some parties then, you just see that they don't have anybody to come and vote at their polling unit. They only have their agents. And
some don't even have party agents.
No, if some people don't even have party agents, and you just see that the people collecting the numbers will just be adding those numbers from those end to the one that I don't understand. You know, and that's why when you see the result of some polling units, you ask, do you only have two people that are two party at this polling unit? It's a lie. Some people come and vote, even in those days, AD, just vote AD. They don't want the two party. It is normal to have some people who will not be fine with any of the ruling party whatsoever. They want to be different. They have their reasons. But you know, you will see that those polling agents will be adding their own number because it is lesser to one that is, they felt that they will have been bought over, and they adding it to the one that is higher. And before you know it, that was what happened to the one I saw that was formerly uploaded and deleted.
Okay, now let's now talk about, if we have spoken about INEC and how prepared they are, and we'll see that there are a few gray areas to be addressed going into the 2027 general elections. But beyond INEC, are other stakeholders like security agencies, political parties, and judiciary prepared for an election of this magnitude?
Can we take it from one after the other? Now let's take it from Nigerians. Are we also prepared? How well do we have about the new Electoral Act? Do we understand our polling units? Do we know that the word is very important? Do we understand that this INEC, or the election of a team, is a decider to our future? It determines the kind of health facility we get, the good leaders that we are all praying for. It determines how educated our sons and daughters will be. It also has to tell us how important we be globally. So if we are not prepared, then there is nothing INEC can do. Our security agencies. The security agencies are also part and parcel of the society. They are persons that should also be on ground to put in their strength to see that, yes, where the ballot box is going is where it's going. It's not in another place. Because we've seen in the past that even when you see they are designated the ballot box to a particular polling unit, they diverted it to another place. Or even after the election, they are supposed to go to the collection center, and like the vehicle is tilting or driving into another place, and in that vehicle you have a security agent. And the agent is keeping quiet, all because he only needs to receive order from above. And that election will be manipulated. We also have a judicial system which has been polluted. In short, our judicial system is said to be so very rich during electoral process, at the outcome of every election in Nigeria, because that is where we see filing of cases of those who know that they cannot win an election, but they want to just file a case and to delay and also to deny the right of Nigerians after the election. You know, these are part of what has been the case, the challenges that we are facing. Our judicial system should be separated, independent.
How?
How? Yes. Because they are the last hope of the masses. They are the one that will tell us this person never conducted any primary before going to file up itself as the candidate. They are the one that will tell us that this polling unit has issues. These are the original documents that was signed before the election, signed and dated. These are the witness. Then if that paper is what will carry the numbers of voters, then it should be the same paper that was initially signed before the election. But you find that you will not get that paper anymore. These are the people that should be able to give us what exactly is and not delay judgment. And that is where you say somebody who lost an election or who got there by manipulation, staying more than expected, because immediately the person got sworn in. He will not be using his own money again to pursue his case. He will be using the people's money. He will be there using the people's money, and then you already know the judge. You already have the best lawyers. You already have the best son. And that man who won in a rightful manner will be now looking for where to get money to look for a best lawyer to get that is how we
get back his mandate.
Get back his mandate. And you to be rolling over 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and by the time you know it, the man is almost done.
So
before the judgment
lastly,
is given.
before we go, in just 1 minute, is there a particular lesson you think INEC should take away from the last election that should not be ignored?
2015 election is one lesson I want this INEC to go back and review and learn so much from. The INEC returning officers who died with his entire family, the story, and that scenario is still legal on. And everybody will never forget in a jiffy. I hope present INEC administration understand what happened. The next one is this last election, where we have manipulated polling units. I hope INEC is taking a cue from that last election. And also the preparedness of the so-called electoral officers. That is the youths, Nigerian youths that will be recruited to do this job. Our scenario of 2011 is still there. We can't just forget in a jiffy. Many of our Nigerian Youth Service Corps members come and the entire nation was thrown into mourn. And the government did absolutely nothing. So I want INEC to look into this to get a good security for those officials that will be working, get the people well aware on time, and get the officers' welfare package very ready. Not that they will be working and their pay is not ready, and also the security be assured of their pay too, because they are not just working for the Nigerian police, they are not just working for the Nigerian army, they are working under the budget of the Nigerian Electoral Commission, and that alone should not be taken for granted.
All right, Afolabi, thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
This morning. That's been a wonderful session with you. Now, if some Nigerians have paid the ultimate price just by serving the nation, and the whole world moved on like nothing happened, then it's a case of, should we be encouraged to sacrifice the next time? It's one big question we are going to ask again on this show, maybe some other time. But it has been a critical conversation here, and one that goes to the heart of Nigeria's democratic future. We say a big thank you to my guest this morning, Afolabi. He's a public affairs analyst. He has helped us unpack the implications of these developments, what the numbers really mean, the risks involved, and whether Nigerians can trust the system heading into the next election. Stay with us as we continue to ask the hard questions and demand answers that matter. Up next is Trend Watch. Samsi Balogun is my name.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at DominionCast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
And thank you for staying with us. We now head straight on to the trend watch today. Of course, you see what's trending across the newspapers and maybe social media as well to catch moments from that particular space. Now, the big caption on our trend watch today is about Tinubu, and there's an allegation from the ADC saying that Tinubu government moves to frustrate ADC National Convention, which holds approval for Eagle Square. So according to the details of that story, it was quite expressed that, yes, the spokesperson for the ADC came out to say that, you know what, we tried to use the Eagle Square, we tried to use the other venue that he mentioned, but of course, we were not able to get access to that particular place. And this exactly is the case. So what does this really mean for the party going forward? Because there's been cases even before now of this administration, the incumbent administration, trying to ensure that these parties do not get their house in order. So it seems like this is one of the claims of the ADC as we speak. But of course, this is what we have, guys.
Right. So I think the whole ADC crisis started at the point where the likes of Atiku, Ralph Argbeshola decided to defect to the party. And what do I mean by that? I think a few weeks after the likes of Atiku, Ralph, and a couple of others defected, that was when we heard the issue of, some persons coming out to say signatures were forged. And then you wonder that, why is it that signatures were forged when you people were actually there at the meeting, when the party was transferred to those people? And then away from that, I think even the presidential candidate of the ADC in 2023 elections, also had issues. And then at some point he went on national TV to say these people are trying to hijack our party. So it appears that they were able to tackle that issue at that level. So obviously it's going to result into more issues, for the ADC. So I don't know whether they are going to resolve this before the time frame of INEC now, because according to INEC, ADC cannot go on with the election. They cannot go with the convention, rather. And then they also went to the authorities, the federal government, to secure venue for their convention. Maybe this is linked to the court ruling, because according to the court ruling, court is saying go back to status quo. And INEC traced it back to July 2025. And then the implication of that is they might not be able to go on with this convention. Okay, so maybe that's the reason why the federal government is trying to say we cannot give you this venue. And then I think they asked the man that went on national TV, that's Abdullahi Bolaji, the ADC spokesperson now. They asked him, have you been able to find a venue for your convention? And then he said he's not going to release that to the public as we speak now. So good luck to the ADC. If they want to go on with this, don't forget another member of the ADC that belongs to another faction said if they go on with this convention, it will become another Amala convention like the PDP convention in November 2025. So good luck to them if they want to go on with this convention. But I don't think INEC officials will be present. And according to the spokesperson, it is the volition of the INEC officials if they want to show up or not, really.
Well, I think, I can say that the ADC are just, they are crying foul for no reason. And I will say this with all sense of responsibility, and I stand to be corrected, but what I know, I will say. Ralph Nwosu, as chairman of ADC, was there for 17 years or almost 20 years. And the ADC constitution, ab initio, says you cannot be chairman of a political party, ADC, 4 years. You can be chairman for 4 years after the convention. and then you can stand for re-election for another 4 years in office. Okay? So, meaning that you can only serve 8 years in office as chairman of ADC. So, he became chairman in 2006. 2006 till 2024, okay? His tenure ended. So, whatever it is he did between 2000 and 2024 till now, I think for me, it should not count, right? Because automatically he stopped being the chairman of that party in 2024. I mean, that says a lot. That should be 2014, right? So from 2014 now to 2026, someone has been there for over 10 years. And you are still saying you are the chairman. So it's still the same person that has not been the legitimate chairman of the party that handed over to another set of people. Meaning that if anyone goes to court after that, that person is right. So how do you blame the presidency or the APC for a mistake you made? I can say for a fact that if these same people in ADC, if they go behind the cameras down, right, they're going to tell themselves the truth that yes, we have made a mistake. How do we correct it? But in Nigeria, someone has to take the fall. Someone must take the blame for your own mistakes. Why must it be like that? Away from there, this is not the first time that a sitting political party will deny the opposition the chance to use a venue for an event. I'm not justifying the fact, but who should cry foul? You have been in a party before that denied the APC. David Mark was a member of the PDP, right? We have said Rotimi Amechi has once been a member of the PDP. So you were members of this party that denied the APC or also using a venue before now. Now, I can cite instances, about 4 different instances, even at state level. In Ekiti, 2014 governorship election, during the build-up to the 2014 election, the APC alleged that PDP-led government in Ekiti at that time blocked access to public venues for rallies. And there was also complaints of security restrictions and permit denials targeting opposition party, which was the APC at that time. Moving on. In Rivers, the political crisis, that was 2013 to 2015, right? That was during the tenure of Nyesom Wike in Rivers State. Now, under the then PDP-controlled state structures, APC leaders accused the authorities of preventing the use of public facilities. 1, disrupting the rallies and meetings, and the crisis between the factions made Rivers one of the most volatile political. Of course, we all know what happened at that time. Also, in the Federal Capital Territory pre-2015 elections, APC, then an opposition party, raised concerns that it faced difficulties securing major venues. In fact, hotels did not give them access to use their halls because someone who was a PDP was president at the time. This same APC struggled to get venues for their conferences, conventions, and congresses at that time. So how do you now come back in 2026? Okay? This same thing you did. It's a no-brainer that in Nigeria that every time you do something and it favors you, you are okay, you are happy. But then if it is other person's turn to now met the same punishment on you, then it becomes a problem. Then democracy is in danger. Everyone wears designer shirts and goes to rally points and say Nigeria is in danger. So it's a no-brainer. Let's all come back to the drawing board, right? We can all correct all of this. We know, I'm not defending the APC for doing this now. I mean, there's no time for retaliation. Democracy must breathe in Nigeria. But the most important thing is, if you have done it in the past, you have no moral ground to now come and complain about the same thing you did maybe 10, 15, 11 years ago and say someone is doing that same thing to you. And you are complaining. You should not complain. You have no right to do that.
All right, so let's just take a few comments before we go very briefly. Of course, let's see what Nigerians are reacting about, particularly about this issue. So Idowu Cyril Joshua says, Tinubu loves power so much. Nigeria is a democratic state, for God's sake. Of course, Eldon says, the owner of Abuja said it before now. Does it mean that Nigeria doesn't belong to us, to all of us?
Yeah, I think it's a fine place to leave it, feeling the pulse of the people on this particular topic. Good luck to ADC as a political party and, of course, to all of the political parties as well. My name is Olayemi Adelakun. Thank you for being a part of the show. See you next week.
All right, my name is Samson Balogun. Until next week, same time, same station, same host. I say keep being good out there, keep being safe. Bye for now.
And thank you again for joining us. My name is Anolo Akwedo. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye for now.
Daybreak.